Renee Williams.
And I'm Billy Thomas.
And welcome to another edition of From the Woods Today. You know, Billy, I was telling folks right before the show, we're kind of split. I'm at a conference and you're in you're at UK, but it's just it's been a little bit of a crazy morning, but we're still going to get the show rolling.
Yeah, I'm glad to be with you today, Renee. Thanks for being with us from downtown Lexington. I am here on the campus of the University of Kentucky, and I'm just delighted to be with you all today. Appreciate you all taking some time of your schedule. Join us on From the Woods Today. Got a really exciting show today, and you know, Renee, we got a first timer too.
I know, and I know how excited you are
about that. Yeah, I've had a chance to work with him for a while, so really excited to have him on the show. We're going to have Mr. Clay Turner, who oversees the Forest Stewardship program for the Kentucky Division of Forestry. He's going to be with us here in a little bit, and he's going to be talking about the stewardship program here in Kentucky. And you know, this is a program that's near and dear to my heart. You know, it's something I work in.
So it's good that we're doing this.
Yes, yeah. So, and he's such a great partner in Kentucky Division of Forestry. So we're really excited to have Clay on here in a few minutes. We also have a couple of our regular heavy hitters. We got Dr. Ellen Crocker with the new edition of a pesky plant that we're going to be talking about a little bit. She may or may not be able to join us. We'll see. She's actually doing a training for some county extension agents out in Western Kentucky. So we appreciate what Dr. Crocker's doing, but she said she would try to sneak in if she could. So we'll see. And then we have Laurie Thomas with the new tree of the week. So I'm really excited about this one. This is a really, really cool tree, and not many people may be that familiar with it. So it's awesome. So I don't want to spoil it. I'll let Laurie share what that is, but really excited about today's show. Glad to have you all with us. Of course, we wouldn't do this without you. So glad you're here with us. If you do have questions for our presenters, please use the chat function if you're with us on Zoom. And if you're on YouTube or a podcast listener, we still want to hear from you. You can hit us up via email at forestry.extension@uky.edu, and we can respond to you that way. But Renee, delighted to be with you on this nice, cool day here in September in Lexington, Kentucky.
Thank you. You know, we're going to go ahead and get the show rolling. So Clay, if you'd like to turn on your camera. Welcome to the show.
Greetings, Clay.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
To be one of ours.
That's right. Yes.
So I kind of feel like, you know, he's just come back home.
I know. I couldn't believe we hadn't had you on before, Clay, but I'm so excited to have a chance to work with you and have you on the show today talking about something that's really important for our forest landowners here in Kentucky.
That's right. Yeah, I've been a listener to you all for a long time, so I'm happy to be here and be a part of it. And yeah, I used to work with Dr. Crocker, so it's neat being on here same day she is as well.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, if you want to go ahead and get started, we're really interested in learning more about those stewardship plans. I mean, we talk about them quite often.
All the time.
And, you know, and it's something that I really think that will help our viewers to learn more about what's going on with those.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, I'll just start sharing my screen here and get going with the presentation. Give me 1 second. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, great. And now I will get the slideshow going. Well, good morning, everyone. As Billy and Renee said, I'm Clay Turner, and I'm a forestry program specialist with the Kentucky Division of Forestry, serving as the Forest Stewardship Coordinator. I've been with KDF in this role since last November, and I really enjoy it because it gives me an opportunity to work with both landowners and foresters across the state to try and improve the state's forests. And so I do appreciate the opportunity to share about the program I'm working with. And Billy and Renee, they reached out about having me on because a landowner had requested doing a segment on stewardship plans and trying to help woodland owners understand them better. And I do think this is an important area for our state's woodland owners to, you know, try and improve their knowledge and be aware of this resource that KDF offers. So I think hopefully today's program will help you all get a better understanding of what we can do for you. Today, we'll go over the basics of a stewardship plan and how it can help you all as landowners, as outlined in the Kentucky Forest Action Plan, which serves as a guiding document for KDF. The purpose of the stewardship program is to encourage the long-term stewardship of non-industrial private forest land. And so the action plan calls for the program to help landowners become more active managers of their forests in ways that are healthier and more sustainable, and also more productive for the benefit of both present and future generations. So this conversation will hopefully work toward fulfilling that purpose and help the woodland owners out there better understand what a forest stewardship plan is, what the process of getting a stewardship plan looks like, what is included in the stewardship plan, and then how these plans can benefit you and improve your properties. And so even if you're not a woodland owner, you're listening to this show, you clearly care about Kentucky's forested areas. And so you maybe know a woodland owner, or perhaps you're aware of an organization that might be interested in getting a stewardship plan. And so, you also might be in a position to partner with KDF in some other way and come up with an alternative way to strengthen our forests other than just, actually getting out there and getting a plan, but maybe, help working with us as a professional as well. So with that, we'll mainly be talking about the different aspects of the stewardship plan today, but I first wanted to highlight other parts of the stewardship program as well, just to take this opportunity for those of you who may not be aware of some of these options out there for you. We do more than just write plans. And so I hope some of you all can find these other resources and take advantage of them. And so, of course, we do have the stewardship management and practice plans that we'll cover in more detail here in a few minutes, but the stewardship program with KDF also works to reclaim old mine sites and help those ecosystems improve and help reforest those areas. We also have educational opportunities for landowners and forest professionals, and that can include woodland owner short courses that we work on with our partners at UK who host those, or field days where landowners can come and learn about practices for improving their forested areas. We also help with publications and other materials that provide forest management and health information to work to improve landowners' ability to have the knowledge they need to work on their forests. And then another thing we do is we recognize landowner efforts because we know that the landowners that we work with are putting in a ton of work and effort and to help improve the whole state's forest, and we want to encourage that behavior and recognize and honor the individuals who are out there putting in those efforts, and also help inspire others to engage in the same type of activities. And so none of this would be possible if we weren't working with partners on it. I've already mentioned UK a few times, and I'm on here with Billy and Renee, work with them closely. So we have partnerships with UK where we do a lot of things through the stewardship program. And also we have work with organizations like the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association, which is an organization working to educate woodland owners on management practices and available resources, while also advocating for forest health. So, if you seek that organization out and you're a woodland owner, they also have a lot of great resources on how you can work toward a healthier, better forest if you own a wooded area. And we also work on grants with UK in addition to the short course and things like that I've mentioned. And Tree Farm is another key partner, and the American Tree Farm System is a program for woodland owners who are committed to sustainably managing their forested areas for wood, water, wildlife, and recreation. And so tree farms satisfy the standards to qualify as Sustainable Forestry Initiative certified wood. So that's a benefit they offer to landowners as well. And so then we work with the Kentucky Forest Industries Association as well, who supports and oversees the tree farm program, and also certifies and re-inspects tree farms. And so we do that with them. And then we assist with tree farm field days and educational programs. And so we also just work with the Kentucky Forest Industries Association because we recognize that in order to have the healthiest forest possible across the state, we need the industry to be thriving as well, so that it can be there to support landowners in their efforts and make all this possible. And so here we have, sorry, I realize the top of that is cut off there, but forest stewardship by the numbers for the federal fiscal year of 2023. I thought I just wanted to give you all a sense of, what exactly we're able to accomplish. So this runs from October of 2022 through September of 23 here. We're working on reporting for the last fiscal year 24. That'll be due here at the end of the month, at the end of this September. So these numbers are a little out of date, but you can still get a sense of what's going on here. And so we have over 14,400 landowners that receive either educational or technical assistance through the program. And so, that's through the variety of ways that I've mentioned, either direct help with plans or educational opportunities. We've written 391 forest stewardship or management plans, with 367 of those being stewardship plans. And so, and those numbers have been improving the past few years. They're down from historical highs, but we're really working to get those back up. And that's part of the reason I'm here today, is to hopefully encourage some of you to learn about the stewardship plans that are available and perhaps seek those out. And so we have almost 70,000 acres covered by stewardship and management plans that were, new and in that year, and with 10,000 being in the important forest resource areas. So those are priority areas, that are of significant interest in terms of, preventing fire, or the in ecosystem services or environmental benefits they provide. So really focused, we work with the federal government to impact those areas, and try and reach those as much as possible. And so we have over 5,600 acres of completed activities, including tree planting or timber stand improvement, other improvements to the land, things of that nature. And so the 69,000 was acres covered by the stewardship plans last year that were new, but overall the whole stewardship program has 493,000 acres of active forest stewardship plans. So I just wanted to highlight that number, because that is a really big number, and it highlights how together as woodland owners, there's a power in working together as a collective, and in terms of the good we can have for Kentucky's forests. But there's still a lot more room for growth. There's just millions of acres out there. Most of Kentucky's forests are owned by private individuals or entities. And so, hopefully we can continue to grow that number of acres and continue to broaden the impact we can have through these stewardship plans. And so here next, we'll get into a program overview. And so to maximize that impact we can have at KDF, the stewardship program operates out of Frankfort headquarters, where we coordinate the efforts of the foresters who are across the state. And so in Frankfort, that involves myself and Pam Snyder, who is the forest management chief. We run the program from there at KDF headquarters. And, we really coordinate the efforts of those 6 branches you'll see up here. Here's the field office locations, and you can find where your own property might be within that map. We have the 6 branches, one in Frankfort, Moorhead, Hazard, Pineville, Campbellsville, and Madisonville. And there are 6 chief foresters, one for each of those branches. They work out of those offices, and they might be a point of contact for you if you are interested in pursuing a stewardship plan. So I wanted you to get a sense of what that might look like here. And then underneath those chief foresters are 18 service foresters currently. They cover on average 6.5 counties. And you can see the breakdown here by county. And so here, these service foresters are working on a more local level to meet the needs of landowners, and they put in the efforts here. We'll go more into exactly what they might do as part of the stewardship plan process here in a bit, but they're really out there working hard in the backbone of the program, help making this possible. So, and so, now we've gone over what the program looks like. And so here we'll get into exactly what a forest or what is a stewardship plan. And they're really just a way for landowners to thoughtfully determine the objectives and goals they have for their woodlands, and then work with KDF and other forestry professionals to realize those goals. And the whole process is landowner directed. The foresters at KDF want to help landowners strengthen Kentucky's forests in a way that meets their needs. And it's the landowners who, will be the drivers behind getting this process started and getting a management plan in place and then working to complete it. And it's not going to happen if not by the desires of the landowner being realized and them putting in work as well. And so forest stewardship plans consider the top two management priorities of landowners, from the choices of managing for timber and non-timber products, managing for fish and wildlife species, soil and water conservation, forest health related to the control of insects, disease, and invasive plants, and then recreation and aesthetics as well. And so in order for a forest stewardship plan to be put in place, the landowner must have at least 10 acres of woodland on their property, and they must be willing to follow these 7 guiding principles of contributing to conservation and biological diversity of the forest, maintaining and improving productive capacity, maintaining health of vigor of the forest, protecting soil and water resources, must consider carbon cycles and also consider the socioeconomic benefits, and also comply with all relevant laws and rules related to the management of the forest. And so these plans, they're comprehensive, and they consider multiple uses and can include a variety of recommendations as well. The whole process is a collaborative one involving different stakeholders who get involved depending on the landowner's ultimate goals. The Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources gets involved if there's a focus on wildlife habitat improvement, or the Division of Conservation can also get involved, and also the Kentucky Division of Water if the property is along stream corridors. And then there can also be federal partners as well, working with NRCS on a federal level if the goals include recreation, aesthetics, or soils and water conservation interests. So when you do a stewardship plan, it's not just your property's woodlands that improve, but it's also the soil and water as well. And also your neighbor's soil and water, and the forests are all better off too. So it really highlights how, the power of the program is not just to benefit your own property, but that of your surrounding area as well. And that's one of the key benefits here. And then now, just in terms of what the process of getting a stewardship plan looks like, you can, you see here, there's a www.ky-fsp.org. You can go to that website and find an application. We also occasionally, have them in Kentucky Woodlands magazines, and maybe you might see us out at different booths, at the state fair or other events where you can get an application. But that website might be easiest for you, so I'll repeat it: www.ky-fsp.org, and then you can submit the application. You can send it in either to the Frankfurt branch, or you can go to the website and you can see where those regional branches are, and send it to the one that covers the county your property's in. So after you submit that application, it eventually goes to the branch level, and we'll put it into our system and see if the landowner has done a plan on a different property before, so we know if we've already worked with you or not. If not, then we just proceed by reaching back out to the landowner, and lots of times that's through an email, and it'll be from the chief forester of the branch, or it could be a phone call, and where we just initiate that discussion and see what landowners are hoping to achieve with implementing a stewardship plan. And then the chief forester in that initial conversation will let the landowner know the time frame for completing the plan, and that varies depending on which branch the property is in. There are some branches that have a significant backlog, and others who the wait time is much less, and they can turn these things around pretty quickly. But so from there, it's up to the service foresters, who they set an appointment with the landowner where they can hopefully meet face to face in person, or sometimes, if necessary, talk over the phone. And then after having that conversation, the service forester will go out on the property, spend anywhere from, half a day to 2 or 3 days, depending on the size of the property, walking the property, evaluating it, analyzing its needs, and then come up with the draft of the plan and finalize the plan with the chief forester from the branch. And then they'll send out a final copy to the landowner along with a packet. And once the landowner has the plan, then, we encourage the landowners or encourage the foresters to wait a couple weeks and then follow up with the landowners to make sure they got the plan, ask if they have any questions. And then, this can also involve working with NRCS, a federal government agency, to, see if we need to get a cost share and equip application rolling. So the most important thing at that stage, once the plan has been sent out, is to encourage the landowners, to seek funding for cost share, from an organization like NRCS, and then also, take those next steps in getting the plan implemented, so it doesn't just sit there unattended for a while. So now that we've talked about the process for getting a plan, I want to cover what actually the plan contains. And so initially it contains the landowner's primary goals, which we've already gone over those a little bit, but it also covers area descriptions of different parts of the landowner's property, and those descriptions include things like tree species and class size, the stocking levels, which evaluate the available space for growth in that area, forest stand health, which covers issues like disease or invasive plants and animals, timber stand quality, reproduction, and the type of seedlings and saplings are on the property, and how many of those are there, and then also evaluating the site quality for potential growth of a different species on the property, and then stand history as well, and wildlife conditions, how much wildlife is present and what type, and the available resources for them. There's also recommendations such as opening and maintaining forest roads, different types of invasive species treatments, or utilizing U.S. Department of Agriculture programs like EQIP or CRP. And so then also, different types of timber stand improvement as well. It covers the resource elements such as, wetlands or sources of pollution that are on the land, or water quality issues that might be a factor, maybe endangered species, or the archaeological or historical sites on the property. And then finally, we also send out packets with forestry information that contain, a basic explanation of forestry terms, or forestry internet sites to use to have those resources in the hands of landowners. And so just want to have these resources like KWA or the Kentucky Association of Consulting Foresters as well. And then there's a management timeline that, notes the plan should be updated every 10 years. And then also breaks the plan up into the property up into different areas, notes the management activities recorded for that area, and the year for that target completion of the activity. And so I realized, and then there's the property maps as well, so you can have a better sense of the boundaries of your property as well, and see what management activities need to be undertaken in the different parts of the property as well. And then I realize I'm running short on time here. I'll go through these quickly. There's also forest management plans available for smaller properties. So they're similar to stewardship plans and still consider landowner objectives, but they're available for landowners who own less than 10 acres of forest land. So if you're listening and don't meet the 10-acre threshold for a stewardship plan, there's still an option for you if you have some acreage of forested area here. And so they're usually less complex and do not have to address all the environmental concerns in stewardship plans. And they're more focused on specific treatment aspects, but they still usually cover the entire property like a stewardship plan does. And these can be revised if a stewardship plan if the situation changes and the property gets enlarged. Sorry, I'm trying to, there we go. And then finally, we have practice plans, and these are appropriate when landowners have specific on-the-ground practices in mind, and in order for a practice plan to be written, the land has to satisfy all the requirements of the stewardship program, and they are usually written after a forest stewardship or management plan is already in place, and they usually address a single stand or area of a tract or a particular management concern, and they are useful for managing issues that need to be addressed in the short term and work as a single part of the larger framework of a management plan. And these landowners can also possibly get cost share arrangements from NRCS through programs like EQIP to help pay for these as well. And then finally, just some plan benefits here. It's having intentional management of the land. Your forested areas likely not going to reach its potential without the landowner's guidance and assistance. And so this provides a framework for landowners to follow, and also expertise from KDF and other forestry professionals. It can be viewed as a financial investment to improve the return on that investment down the line. You also have access to potential cost share, like I've mentioned, with the Conservation Reserve Program, or EQIP, excuse me, the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, and with NRCS funding. And this, as I've talked about, this strengthens communities by making sure everyone's on the same page, working together to have stronger forests and stronger communities as a result. And there's potential for assistance from recovery from natural disasters like the tornadoes in Western Kentucky, that for management plans and stewardship plans can be used to help recover from those. And then there's also just, environmental benefits when we all work together to improve the forest as a whole and create healthier forests that are beneficial for wildlife, for, higher stream quality, and just overall the plants that we can find in our forests as well. So again, that's all I have, and I know that was a lot. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Also, here's my contact information. You can email me at clay.turner@ky.gov or give me a phone call, and I'd be happy to talk with you, give you some more information, and really work with you so we can improve Kentucky's forests together. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Very good. There was a question about, someone wanted to know, is there a preferred time of year to get a plan? Like, is fall or winter better for a site visit, or is it just best to go ahead and maybe get your name in there and then work from there?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it like I said, it does depend on the branch you're in. Some have a backlog where it's going to take a while no matter what, but I know that fall time and sometimes in the spring are usually busier for the service foresters. They've got to help with fire across the state. So winter is usually a great time if, and foresters have a little more free time to come out, or not free time, but a flexible time to come out. And, winter is great, but also just as, if you're ready to do it now, we can get that process started. So, now is always—
sign up now, today.
Yeah, that's right. Annie, you've been on the waiting list for several years. I'm sorry to hear that. If you want to reach out, you can reach out to me, send me an email, and we can figure out where you're at. Based on my conversations with the chief foresters, it usually doesn't take that long. I've never heard of it, taking that long. So hopefully we can get that sorted out. Okay, yeah, for the tree farm system. All right. Well, you can reach out to me again. clay.turner@ky.gov. I'd be happy to email with you, or you can call. So
wonderful. Well, thank you, Clay. We appreciate all the great work that you do for our woodland owners.
Yes, keep it up, Clay.
All right. Well, thank you all for having me on. This was great.
No, we appreciate you and KDF very much. Thank you, buddy.
All right.
Awesome.
Moving on to our next topic. We've got a new treat of the week. So that's a new thing that we haven't had in a couple of weeks. So I really appreciate Lori Thomas. Is she still on here, I think?
I am. I can't share my video though, so
No worries, Laurie. We got you. If you want to
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what we're about to see.
So, and hopefully you've got do you have the video, Billy, or do I need to?
Yes, I've
Okay,
got it.
perfect. So this week we're doing butternut. Some of you all may have heard of it. It's also known as white walnut. And it's called white walnut because it is related to our black walnut, but it is a different tree. And I go over some of the unique characteristics of it and how you can determine how the difference between it and black walnut when you're out in the woods. I will say this, you may not run into it real often. It is somewhat infrequent out in our woods, but it is a lovely tree. And I know if we've got any wood carvers out there, the wood is, because it's a soft, light wood, it's nice to carve and it's got a beautiful grain on it too. So here we go. We've got butternut.
All right, look forward to it.
I'm Laurie Thomas with the University of Kentucky Forestry and Natural Resources Extension, and I'm here with the tree of the week, the butternut. Butternut, Juglans cinerea, also known as white walnut, oil nut, or lemon nut, is a member of the Juglandaceae family, which is made up of 6 or 7 genera and about 60 species of trees and large shrubs. The genus Juglan is comprised of about 20 species found in North, Central, and South America, the West Indies, Southern Europe, and Southern and Eastern Asia. And there are 6 species of juglans native to the United States, but only 2, black walnut and butternut, are important in timber production. Butternut is a medium-sized tree that typically grows 40 to 60 feet tall and 12 to 24 inches in circumference. It has a short trunk which is divided into a few ascending limbs with large, spreading, sparsely forked branches. Butternut is a fast-growing tree but is short-lived. It typically only lives to about 75 years. And butternut is highly valued for its nuts by both humans and wildlife. Butternut's range is from New Brunswick south into Virginia and Tennessee, with small pockets in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Arkansas, and west to Iowa and Minnesota. Throughout its range, it's not a common tree, and its frequency is declining. The ranges of butternut and black walnut overlap, but butternut occurs farther north and not as far south as black walnut. In Kentucky, it is found across the state, but it is infrequent. Butternut grows best on moist, well-drained sites such as stream banks, coves, and lower slopes. It is seldom found on dry, compact, or infertile soils. However, it grows better than black walnut on rocky soils of limestone origin. Butternut produces a substance called juglone, like other members of the Juglandaceae family. Juglone is selectively toxic to associated vegetation, and it is in its greatest concentrations in the root tissue and fruit husks. Butternut is classed as shade intolerant to competition. Butternut is a deciduous tree with alternately arranged, pinnately compound leaves, as you can see in the bottom photo. The leaves are 15 to 25 inches long, with 11 to 17 oblong to lanceolate-shaped leaflets that have serrated margins, and the leaves have a well-developed terminal leaflet. The leaf rachis is stout and pubescent. Fall color is golden yellow. The presence of a well-developed terminal leaflet is a good characteristic to distinguish butternut from black walnut, which lacks a well-developed terminal leaflet. Butternut is monoecious, meaning a tree has both male and female flowers. The male flowers are single-stemmed yellow-green catkins that are about 2 to 5 inches long. The female flowers are on short spikes and they're located near the end of the twig. Flowers bloom between April and June, and the flowers are wind-pollinated. The fruit of butternut is oblong or lemon-shaped, about 1.5 to 2.5 inches long, and it has a yellow-green indehiscent husk. Indehiscent means it doesn't split open. The nut inside the husk is irregularly ribbed, sweet, oily, and meaty. The fruit is either single or in 2 to 5 groups toward the ends of the branches. The fruit ripens between September and October. Gravity and wildlife, particularly squirrels and other rodents, disseminate the fruit, and seeds germinate the following spring. Trees begin seed production at about 20 years of age with optimal production between 30 and 60 years. And trees produce good seed crops every 2 to 3 years. Butternut fruit is lemon-shaped, whereas black walnut is generally round, as you can see in the bottom photo. The bark is light, ashy gray with flat top and almost shiny ridges, often with diamond-shaped patterns in between. The twigs are stout and pubescent, with a leaf scar that's three-lobed and is said to resemble a monkey face. Above the leaf scar is a tuft of small, dense hairs that resemble an eyebrow, as you can see in the photo. The leaf scar and tufts of small hairs are helpful in distinguishing butternut from black walnut twigs. The wood of butternut is soft and lightweight. It's much softer than black walnut wood. The heartwood is light to medium tan, and the sapwood is pale yellowish white. The wood's decay resistance is rated as moderately durable to non-durable, and it is susceptible to insect attack. Butternut wood is not an important timber species like black walnut. The wood is used for small household wooden ware, cabinets, instruments, furniture, and is often a favorite among wood carvers. Butternut is an important wildlife tree, even if it is not found in abundance throughout its range. The rich nuts provide food for squirrels and other rodents, birds, and other mammals. It is also the host tree for the hickory horned devil larva and the Luna moth larva. Butternut has been seriously impacted by butternut decline or butternut canker. The causal organism of the disease is a fungal pathogen. It was first identified in the 1960s and is believed to have come into the country on imported nursery stock from Asia or Japan. The symptoms of the disease include dying branches and stems, and trees are top killed by stem girdling. The species is listed as special concern in Kentucky, threatened in Tennessee, and endangered in Illinois. Now for a few fun facts about butternut. Butternut bark and nut rinds were used to dye cloth to colors between light yellow and dark brown. Early settlers used the root bark to make a laxative and the tree's outer bark to make a tea to treat dysentery and toothaches. The national champion butternut as of 2021 is located in Thurston, Washington. It's 248 inches in circumference, 81 feet tall, with a 92-foot crown spread. The Kentucky champion is in Pike County. It's 186 inches in circumference, 73 feet tall, with a 103-foot crown spread. The genus name for butternut juglans is derived from two Latin words, Jovis, which means Jupiter, and glans, which means acorn or nut. And the specific epithet cinerea is from the Latin cinerus, which means dust or ashes, in reference to the pale gray color of the bark. Thanks for joining me to learn about the beautiful butternut tree.
That is a very pretty tree. I did like it.
It is. It's lovely. And and I was just sitting here thinking, I don't think I've ever eaten I've never eaten a butternut. I wonder what the nut, I know the nuts they're really good. Supposedly they're really, really tasty. And I was going to say I should try to find one and see if I could taste it.
Does it have a walnutty taste? I guess you would say.
I would assume it does. I mean, it's very much, I mean, it's related to walnut and
Okay.
which walnut's very meaty, very oily. And so it is too. And I think it's even sweeter than the walnut is from the readings. But like I said, I've never tried one. So
Yeah. Interesting. All right.
Very
Well,
cool.
thanks again for doing that. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
We always love the trees of the week.
Yeah, great work, Laurie. And yeah,
take care.
remember, folks, she's got almost 100 of these up now, or close to it.
Close to
Trees of
it.
the week. So just look on our website, Common Trees of Kentucky, and you can find all of those there. Yeah, thanks, Laurie. Appreciate it.
All right. So
No.
moving on, we have our next show. Yay!
Oh, she was able to sneak away. Dr. Crocker's in the house. Hey.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good. How are things in beautiful Lake Barkley?
Oh, it's always wonderful at Lake Barkley. Beautiful day, beautiful view.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So you're going to be doing a pesky plant today. So what are we talking about?
Well, today we're going to be talking about something that I saw plenty of while I was driving out here to Western Kentucky, and that is autumn olive, an invasive plant that not only can you find along the side of the highway, as I have been seeing, but you can find it in a lot of different areas, disturbed areas, highlight areas, maybe your backyard if you're unlucky. But most commonly in reclaimed mining sites and disturbed areas. So I've got a short video recording for you all about autumn olive, what it looks like and how to manage it. Maybe you're already really familiar with autumn olive and you don't need to be reminded of what it looks like. But if this is a new plant to you, hopefully some good information to get you started scouting for it.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
So you'll get that going.
I'll get her going.
Autumn olive is a fast-growing shrub that can form dense thickets and take over. This invasive plant is especially common in reclaimed mining sites and other disturbed high light areas like roadsides, fields, grasslands, and open woodlands. Promoted for many years, we now know that autumn olive is too much of a good thing and not a plant you want on your property. In this edition of Pesky Plants, I'll introduce this invasive plant, why it is a problem, and how you can control it. What is autumn olive? Autumn olive, Elaeagnus umbellata, is a rapidly growing early colonizing species that is able to outcompete native plants, especially on poor quality sites. Its roots have bacterium in it that make autumn olive better able to fix nitrogen. This lets it thrive, especially in nutrient-deprived soils where other plants might struggle. Autumn olive is easy to pick out because its leaves have a shiny silver color on their undersides, like you can see in this picture, and it's a multi-stemmed dense shrub that grows thickly and can form a dense thicket layer that excludes other species in a range of medium to high light settings. Autumn olive is native to Asia, but it was promoted for many years in the US because of its ability to rapidly thrive in poor sites, as a windbreak and in revegetation of disturbed areas, because the berries and cover it creates are used by some wildlife, and because its abundant berries can also be eaten by humans, typically processed into fruit, leather, or jelly. However, it's now apparent that the negatives outweigh the positive attributes of autumn olive. In Kentucky's woodlands, it's the biggest threat in areas in and around reclaimed mines, which were commonly planted with it, but you can also find it in a range of other areas. Autumn olive can grow into a large shrub, reaching 20 feet tall, perhaps even taller on some really high light situations, almost a small tree. It produces many stems per plant and has a dense, spreading form. Branches may also have occasional spines, which can be hazardous as well as painful if you're trying to work your way through an area with lots of autumn olive. Its leaves are light green on the upper surface with a distinctive silvery color on the underside, created by silvery scales there. There aren't too distinct otherwise. They're kind of oval shaped, a couple inches long, with smooth edges, and they're alternately arranged on stems. As with many other invasive shrubs in our area, autumn olive leaves out early and keeps its leaves until later in the fall than most native plants. In the spring, it produces abundant white to yellow flowers that are fragrant. These develop into berries in the late summer and fall that start out green and then turn red over time. These berries are eaten by birds and can be spread long distances that way. There are some potential lookalikes to autumn olive, but many of these include other invasive species you don't want to see. The closest lookalikes to autumn olive are its cousins, Russian olive and thorny olive, which are also invasive. While the two can look very similar, the leaves of Russian olive have a silvery sheen on the top as well as the bottom and narrower leaves. And thorny olive has a less tree-like form than autumn olive. It has larger leaves and more thorns. The fruits of each of these also look different, but regardless, all are invasive plants to be on the lookout for and remove if you find. As with any invasive plant, managing autumn olive requires patience and persistence. Prevention is the best management option for any invasive plant, so don't plant autumn olive and get rid of it as soon as possible. Management approaches really depend on the severity of the infestation And what else is growing with the invasive plant that you might want to retain, if anything? Because it commonly forms extensive, dense thickets with nothing else growing intermixed, management of autumn olive should prioritize where the greatest impact can be had. While this varies, many land managers use a best first approach, starting with their highest priority areas where management there can have a big impact, and move out from those areas. Here you can see 3 different settings of autumn olive, one plant growing on its own, one plant that's growing mixed in with a lot of trees that might want to be retained, and then a dense thicket with nothing else. Each of those is going to have its own management approaches that would be more suited to those situations. Seedlings and very young plants can be pulled up, either by hand or with tools to assist you, or managed by repeated cutting or grazing. But management of larger infestations typically involves the use of systemic herbicides. Mechanical removal alone of large plants on a large scale will result in extensive site disturbance, which is great for establishing new invasives. Plus, it will likely leave root fragments that can grow again. If you cut without using an herbicide, that's going to result in rapid, dense resprouts. The fact that autumn olive leaves out earlier than natives and keeps its leaves longer can be used in management both to detect it easily during these windows of time, as well as to give you some windows of time when foliar herbicide spray is unlikely to impact valuable native plants that you want to retain. So in early season, that early leaf out gives you a time when you can really pick up on autumn olive and other invasive shrubs. In the late season, late fall, a great time for foliar herbicide spray as long as autumn olive has not begun to turn color or lose any of its leaves. With a limited number of plants or plants growing mixed with desirable species, cut stump and basal bark herbicide application can be good options for management of autumn olive since they will target those individual plants but not impact other things nearby. And there are a number of effective herbicides for this approach, including triclopyr, which is commonly used. There are many different triclopyr formulations that may be better suited for different contexts and application techniques, as well as additional surfactants and dyes that can make this work more effective and easier. Remember to always follow the label. Not only will this give you directions and information on how to be safe and keep the environment around you safe while you're doing it, but it's also the law. For more extensive infestations, one common strategy is to prepare an area by mowing, bush hogging for smaller plants, or using a forestry head for larger tree-sized autumn olive, followed by treating cut stumps with herbicide, or using a foliar herbicide spray of new foliage later in the season or the following year when it has sprouted back. But other plants don't have their leaves. There have been even a few examples of aerial herbicide spray with helicopters to treat heavily infested area. There are many different effective herbicides for this approach. Long-term, continued scouting and management will be needed. Seeds will likely grow from the seed bank and new seeds will be deposited by birds. In some cases, prescribed fire can be a useful part of a long-term autumn olive management approach, although note that fire alone is probably not going to be sufficient to control it, because it will only be top-killed and it will resprout vigorously. Thanks for joining me today and learning a little bit about the invasive plant autumn olive. If you want to learn more, make sure to check us out online and follow us on social media. Thanks for fighting invasive plants and promoting our healthy and diverse native plant communities.
Awesome. Love it, Ellen. Love it.
No, well, I don't love it.
No, I love your topics.
Yes.
It brings out a lot of information that people don't know, and a lot of times some of those are really pretty, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to get rid of that, and you don't want to plant it either. So let's go ahead and try to get rid of that stuff.
Well, and it has been planted extensively because it grows so well. It grows really fast. It grows in places where other things won't grow great. And I mean, those are all good things. We want all of those things. but then what you wind up with is like more than you bargained for, and you've just got a dense sea of autumn olive. So save yourself some, now that we know, now, like we didn't know at the time, but now we know, it's probably not a good selection. Now, of course, it is perfectly capable of finding itself into your woodlands, being moved around by birds. So even if you know and you would never plant it yourself, it can still pop up when you don't expect it. So keep an eye out for it. Fall, we're starting to move into fall, a great time to be scouting for it because it's going to keep its leaves longer. So is bush honeysuckle. So is privet. So is burning bush. So are some other invasive plants that you don't want to see as well. And so it's not only a great time to scout for it, but it's a really good time for cut stump treatments, for foliar treatments for other things. So you take advantage of that time window.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Dr. Crocker. Find them, get them out sooner rather than later. Certainly. Yes.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Awesome show.
Really was. We covered some really important topics,
We did.
learned about the Forest Stewardship Program. Big thanks to Clay Turner and the Kentucky Division of Forestry for running that program. Really important to all the woodland owners here in the state of Kentucky. And so if you're not a current plan holder, get one. You need that, right? We learned about an awesome tree, the butternut, right? And some of the challenges it's facing. And then we also learned about something we need to keep an eye out for, autumn olives. So a big thanks to Dr. Crocker and Laurie for those segments. Renee, great being with you. Good show. I'm glad to have you all with us too. We really appreciate y'all. If there's topics you'd like to see, such as what is the stewardship plan, like this one, let us know. We have a little survey that you can complete, and you can find that. Where can they find that survey, Renee?
They can go to fromthewoodstoday.com and they can find that survey. And they can even put something, say they're walking in their woods and they're like, what is that? They can take a picture and send that survey to us, and we'll try to figure out what it is.
And again, if you're dealing with something on your property, there's a good chance others are here in the state. So let us know, and we'll try to help you and the others that are dealing with the same thing.
Exactly. Again, that address is fromthewoodstoday.com. You can go there. You can binge watch every show we've ever been on. All of there, we have over 200 over there now. Yeah, we've got a lot. But you know what? We couldn't do it without you. So we greatly appreciate you joining us each and every week.
All right, folks. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. You all have a good week, and we'll see you next week on From the Woods Today.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
From the woods today. From the woods today.